Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to install and configure Tails OS for browsing the deep web or the dark net. So you might be asking yourself, what is Tails? Well, let's find out together. So what we're going to do is just going to open your browser. Any browser is fine, and we're basically just going to give it a search, Tails OS, as simple as that, and hopefully it gives us the website, and it does. Tails, privacy for anyone, anywhere. So let's click on that and let's see what it has to offer us. Now, let's see what it says. The website is very simple, very well designed, but let's see what they have to say. Tails is a live operating system that you can start on almost any computer from a DVD, USB stick, or SD card. It aims at preserving your privacy and anonymity and helps you to use the internet anonymously and circumvent censorship. All connections to the internet are forced to go through the Tor network. Leave no trace on the computer you're using unless you ask it explicitly. Use state-of-the-art cryptographic tools to encrypt your files, emails, and instant messaging. So straight off the bat, this is doing everything that we really need it to do when it comes to browsing the deep web or the dark net. It's allowing us to use the internet anonymously. And that's basically just circumventing censorship. Secondly, we know that all connections are driven through the Tor network, so that's just peace of mind from the ground up, really. It leaves no trace on the computer. Basically, Tails OS is a live operating system. Now, if you don't know what a live operating system is, it basically works once. It doesn't save anything that you do on it, and it basically wipes whatever you've done. So it's almost like it just does everything for you. It cleans anything that you may have done, all the history, anything downloaded. It basically just wipes everything. It then uses state-of-the-art cryptographic tools, for example PGP, which we discussed earlier, to encrypt files, emails, and instant messaging, which we will look into in the next video. Now, let's actually get started on installing it. So it's very simple. Just hit install Tails 2.12. So let's just hit install that, and I'm just going to click right here, download only. We really don't need the installation assistant because that's why I'm here. So you can download the ISO image, which is basically the single file containing the whole operating system. So they also want you to verify your download. So they're basically going to give you two techniques to do this verification. You can download the ISO image via Firefox add-on. The add-on verifies your download automatically. So let's just install the Firefox add-on. No, not really. So you can download it with a torrent. If you really don't want to go through the Firefox add-on and maybe you're using Google Chrome, we can just go back and we can use this guide here, and I know that this will just basically bypass everything. Now, which operating system are you installing Tails from? So if you're installing it from Mac, just select Mac. If you're installing it from a Linux distro, select that. If you're installing it from Debian, Ubuntu, or Mint, which are the three most popular Linux distros, you can select that. Or if you're using Windows, which is what I'm using, just hit Windows. So once you've selected Windows, it's going to ask you, are you installing from another Tails OS? No, we're installing it freshly. So we're going to go with this one. Download and install. So let's hit install from Windows. Now, don't worry about basically this section here asking you what you will need, basically saying 2 USB sticks. You really don't need 2 USB sticks. I'm just basically going to show you the simplest way of doing this. So you can hit let's go. Alright, and basically you can download and verify the Tails OS operating system, the ISO file. So you can actually do that through the Firefox add-on, as I mentioned earlier, or you can do it through BitTorrent. I would recommend doing it through BitTorrent, or if you want to, you can basically just hit the you can basically install the Firefox add-on right here. Just allow it. Or if you're using Chrome, it will ask you to install the Chrome add-on. Just install it and hit OK. And it's going to say download Tails 2.12. That's the latest version as of this recording, and just hit download. I already have downloaded, so I don't really need to download it. So let's get started on installing it. Now, as I said, this operating system is a live operating system, which means that once you're done using it, it'll basically wipe everything once you shut down the operating system. So there are really two ways you can go about using this operating system. Number one, you can install it on a USB flash drive, and then number two, you can virtualize it, which is what I recommend for you guys, because there's really no point booting up into your flash drive, then using it and then wiping it. Although it is very good to carry around a Tails USB flash drive. For example, if you're at school and you basically want to browse the deep web, all you have to do is carry your USB flash drive that has Tails OS installed on it, and you can go to school, just plug it in, boot from it, do whatever you want to do with it, and just shut down, and it's gonna wipe everything and you're good to go. But if you really want to enjoy deep web browsing, and as I must say, Tails OS works better than Cube's OS when virtualized, and I'm going to show you that right now. So if you want to install it on a USB flash disk, it's really very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to basically download, you want to just go down here, install intermediary Tails, and you want to download the universal USB installer, which is also one of my personal favorites. Just download it. It's 1.7 megabytes, really not that big. So it's downloaded. Let's run it and let's see what it gives us. And there we are, USB installer. Just hit I agree, and as you can see, it's a portable version. That means you don't really need to install anything. So basically it's going to say select a distribution from the drop down to put on your USB. We're going to select just go down into live antivirus. You want to go into here we are. That's it. Sorry about that, guys. They really have changed the sectioning of the operating systems. There's so many Linux distros, so you want to basically just go into other distros that are sorted alphabetically and look for Tails. Once you find Tails, just select it, and now you want to browse to where you downloaded your ISO file. Mine is in my download section. It's in a folder, and here it is, the Tails 2.12 as of this recording. So I'm going to hit open, and then I'm going to select the letter of my USB drive. By the way, Tails is a very small operating system. You can even install it on a 4 GB flash drive, and you're pretty much good to go. So you can select your flash drive. I here have a 7 GB or 8 GB flash drive, and you want to format it as a FAT32. Alright, once you click that, just hit create and you're good. Once that's done, just power off your computer and then boot up with the USB plugged in, and then boot from your USB drive, and it should be as simple as cake. So let's look at basically how to start it up. There is really no installation process. It's just a live operating system. You just start it and you're good. So again, we are going to be using our VMware virtualization software, or VMware Workstation 12. I showed you how to install it in the previous video and where to download it from, so you can refer back to that. So you have it installed. Just let's run it, and let's get started basically running Tails OS. So we're going to create a new virtual machine, and we're going to hit installer disk image. We're using an ISO file, and we're going to select Tails ISO file, and it's going to again tell you could not detect which operating system is in the disk image. Don't worry about that. Make sure it's using Linux, and now you want to make sure that you're using other Linux 2.6 kernel, or that's if you're using a 32-bit computer. If you're using a 64-bit computer, make sure you select other Linux 2.6 kernel 64-bit, which is what I'm using, and that's what I'm going to select. Now next, you want to basically just give it a name. I'm going to give it Tails. It's really not going to save any files, so you can basically just store the files anywhere you want. I'm still going to store them in my virtual OS files. I'm just going to give it its own folder, Tails. There we are. I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to hit next. It's really not going to save anything, and here we are. Specify disk capacity. As I said, it's not going to save anything much, only the files you're going to be downloading there. So you might want to give it a bit of space. Basically I would recommend about 2 GB really. So 2 GB, and we're going to store it in as a single file, and hit next. And we're going to customize the hardware. The hardware would still, I think, just keep it at 2 GB for RAM. Processors, that again depends on your hardware. I'm going to keep mine at 2. If you have 2 cores, you can keep it at 1, whatever you feel comfortable with, really. You then want to go to, we're just going to close it, and we're going to hit finish. And we are finally going to start the virtual machine, the Tails OS, and there we are. Alright, so it's already booted up. As I said, it's very, very fast, and it works fantastic with virtual machines. Just hit enter on Tails, and it should begin booting up. Don't worry about what it's doing right now. This is basically the startup. What I'm going to do is, let me just maximize the screen right now so we can actually see what's happening. It's going to take a few seconds to start up, and hopefully it gives us something that we can work with. Overall, and in my opinion, I would recommend Tails OS for you as a beginner. You can move on to Cubes OS once you're advanced, and you basically, when you appreciate the security features that Cubes OS provides. Cubes OS is a very good operating system, no doubt, but it's kind of overwhelming for the beginner, and it really just takes away the main objective of why we are actually doing this, which is actually to get access to the deep web. Cubes OS is basically focused on overall complete security and anonymity. Tails OS is focused on each and every section of that, including anonymity and cryptography, but it just does it in a way that's so seamless. So here we are. Welcome to Tails. As I said, it's going to work faster, and you don't have to install it. So it's going to ask you more options. I recommend that you click on yes, all right, and hit forward. And it's going to ask you for an administration password. This is useful if you're going to be using the root commands, the sudo. For those of you who are familiar with Linux, know that the sudo command is basically for performing tasks in root. So you then have your MAC address spoofing. Your MAC address spoofing is basically it's going to basically hide the serial number of your network cards and change them. This will help you in anonymity, and as it says here, it will help you hide your geographical location. Again, very important. Make sure it's checked. It should be grayed. That means it's selected. You then want to scroll down onto your network configuration. Now, this is basically what we found earlier in the earlier videos with Tor. If you're not running through proxies, the first option is the best way to go. If you are running through proxies, you want to select the second one. All right. So once you've selected all the settings, I'm not going to use a root password because I'm not going to be doing anything regarding root commands or sudo commands. So I'm just going to hit login, and it's going to log me in. Hopefully it does this really quickly. So as you can already see, it's a very, very seamless operation. No installation whatsoever. Very simple configuration at the beginning, and you can basically enter an administrator password very, very easily. And here we are. Basically that's it. You're already into Tails OS, and we can get started immediately. But there are a few things that we have to go through before we basically proceed. And we're going to look at that in the next video, where I will be configuring Tails OS with you guys, so we can actually get started browsing the deep web or the dark net on Tails OS. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the Q&A section of the course. Thank you so much for watching.